Yeah.
Returning to Redondo in 1970, what subject did you teach, and who did you replace as the Seahawks baseball coach?
Baseball coach was Jim Breitwieser,
Oh, okay.
my coach.
Okay.
And I taught 4 periods of driver ed and 1 period of PE, baseball.
Okay. Great.
And then later on, I got into some of my teaching career, got into some of my major subjects, social studies and government, that kind of thing. But there was no job except that one, so that's what I
Once they got rid of driver's ed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had it then.
Was coming back to Redondo like the goal when you decided at some point I'm going to be a teacher and coach?
I loved Redondo.
Or was it just accidental?
Well, it just the timing was perfect. I graduated in 1969 from Pepperdine, and I came in at the semester in 1970. January of 70 was my first semester because I was still doing student teaching in the fall. So I completed my student teaching at Gardena High School and Fleming Junior High School, and then I was at Redondo in January of 70.
Okay.
So I was here full time, from that point on.
And was Breitwieser ready to leave, or did you say, "Hey, it's time for you to leave now. I'm here"?
No. He called me. Said, "You graduate?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm going to recommend you." We kept in touch, and I'd come by and see games, so we were good friends. His wife taught at Pepperdine, so it was good. I came down, and that was a good story too. I came down one day and told him, I said, "I think your wife's going to give me a C in this class I have. It's some sporting games class or something." And he says, "She better not." And then so the next day at school, he says, she says to me, "You tell Jim I'm going to give you a C."
I'm going to knock you down to a D.
Yeah.
For trying to work around me.
So that's why Jim was a pretty big influence in my life. Coaching here and job-wise. And I think he went on to, I don't know if he went a year into counseling, a couple of years, and then went on to administration. He, eventually ended up at JC down south, Mission Viejo.
Yeah, because I think he retired in the Leisure World area down there.
Yeah, they were down there for years. So.
Yeah, he seems like, just from the things I've been able to research and read, he was one heck of a guy.
Great.
And must have been humble to be, who gets to be the humble guy that plays behind Phil Rizzuto quietly and never gets seen?
Another thing just popped into my head, you saying that. The Yankees in those days had a way to dress. So when we dressed here at Redondo, we couldn't have our sanitary stockings wrinkled. They had to be straightened and pulled up. And the difference between the stirrups could only be about 4 or 5 inches. He'd check on it. Your shoes weren't polished for the games, and you go back down and polish them.
That was probably his Yankee upbringing.
Yeah, it was the Yankee stuff. Yeah, definitely.
They were very meticulous.
Yeah. So you had to be neat and clean, coming up, clean shaven, haircut, and everything was neat. We all liked that. That was great because he could back up whatever he said because he had played, in the big leagues for years.
That's right. You guys must have been in awe.
Oh, it's incredible. What a gift. Here out of nowhere we got, I think the year Nick Agater was my coach my freshman year I played varsity. Nick Agater. And I think Nick had been the coach for a couple of years. But he was my freshman coach. And he was a math teacher who just took the job. So here the word was we're getting the kids, we heard about it in basketball my sophomore year. So you got to be a baseball coach, and this guy had this reputation, and it all was right on the numbers.
Did Nick Agater didn't coach very long?
I know my year, and I'm pretty sure the year before. So that would have been 59 and 60. I don't. Probably look back and see.
Well, I did a timeline.
Yeah, I
on
saw
that. And it's there's a couple of areas where it's missing, but everything else is pretty well documented.
Those two for sure. That I know.
Do you remember a guy named Chewy?
Yeah.
Joe Rodriguez?
Chewy Rodriguez. Yeah.
He still lives around here, and
Shannon Rodriguez is his daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Her mother was my girlfriend when we were freshmen. So
small world.
Small world.
Yeah. He talks about the growing up playing baseball, having to shag down a ball here and there and a bat, and play on a field and get kicked off, and he was a farmer kid, You know, he used to go in the summers and pick walnuts or something like that, and he'd come back and had the, colored hands they wouldn't wash off from the summer, and ended up having to defend himself.
We're good friends. We have been for years. He's a good guy. His claim to fame, of course, you probably know, is he beat Joe Moeller in a high school baseball game pitching.
No.
Yeah, I think it was 1-0 game, and he pitched for Redondo and beat Joe Moeller with Roger pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he's going to come out on the alumni game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Who are some of the other coaches that inspired you to go into coaching, and what did you draw from them?
My basketball coach in high school was John Kincannon, and he was good too. These guys were, winner. He was an ex-NBA guy, played briefly in the NBA, and my coach at Pepperdine my junior year was a guy named Gail Hopkins. And Gail Hopkins, he'd take batting practice when we were my junior year. And I said, "Can we hit today, Hoppy? Because I'm going back to the show. I'm going back to the big leagues." That summer, he was in the big leagues with the Dodgers.
Wow.
He played for the White Sox organization. So he was my coach my junior year. Then Wayne Wright took over, who became a renowned athletic director and baseball coach at Pepperdine for years, and inducted me into the Hall of Fame. And Wayne was a good guy. These guys were all really inspirational guys, and just they fall in place. I was very fortunate and lucky to have just really good coaches along the way, and that's kind of where that was.
Good for you.
Did you have a philosophy as a coach, and was there a favorite phrase that you would tell your players?
I'd always say my last years is when we go out, I say play to win. We do that for practice too, play to win. And my philosophy pretty well was I wanted you to be much better players, than you are. And it was reach for some good heights. A lot of our goal for every kid on the team was that they play some kind of baseball after they left high school, whether it be junior college or pickup, whatever. And we used to even say when they're younger, if you don't want to really do that, maybe you might be in the wrong place. Because I could truly say probably, I don't know the numbers, but our kids loved it so much. It was such a big part of their lives. All the ones that didn't really get a chance to play at all still are talking about it. The kids I still see that are accountants or whatever, they still loved it. They love baseball. They're fans. So I think that was my philosophy. And to get that, okay, we've got to go to making an average player good, making a good player great, and go up from where you really are. There's a pretty good player. Well, he's going to be a very, very good player. And you got to do these certain things, to get that done.
Never stop pushing yourself.
No. I mean, Davison's team, honestly, they were very average after Scotty. We had a shortstop when he pitched. You couldn't throw the ball hardly across the diamond. We had a guy hit 480 or 460 playing third base that thought he was God's gift to hitting. And I don't think he ever played after high school. He had 460, and we were in a tough league with El Segundo at prospects, and he thought he was, Scotty's little brother played second base, and we were, he was so dominating on the mound, but the surrounding, the players that were with him thought they were, we could have taken the Dodgers on. I really think they would have thought, we might be able to win today. So that was that mental part. I think Scotty said that too. Ask him about the supporting cast, and we talked to him again on that team his senior year.
Yeah.
Who are some of the other star players that you coached?
Oh, geez, there was a lot of them. My first year, it was a kid named Ronnie Farkas, Farkas. And Ronnie ended up playing like 12 years in the minor leagues for the St. Louis Cardinals. 12 or 13 years. And then coached minor league baseball. Wow. He might be a candidate later on for our Hall of Fame. He was an early player. Then I had a lot, the players of the year. I had, go back to Tim Farger. Paul Johnson, his brother Chris. Chris was the one I was talking about that was a 3-time All-CIF guy, and Paul was first-team All-CIF and Daily Breeze Player of the Year. And a kid named Wayne Wilson. He was just popping on my head. I don't want to miss anybody here, but there's so many of them. Wayne Wilson was on the 85 championship team. and he was drafted ahead of Roger Clemens in the draft.
Wow.
First round draft pick of the Baltimore Orioles.
Wow.
He might be the only first. There's a good one that just came in. He might be the only first round draft pick in Redondo history.
Wow.
You look at the
First
draft
round.
list, and there's Roger Clemens below him. He blew his arm out later on. Great body, 6'5" kid, and so some more of a were I said Chris and Paul Johnson, Dan Odell and Greg Karn from the '81 team, Roger Moore on that team, Louis Arian on the 1979 team. We got beat up at Lompoc in the semifinals. Louis Arian, first team All-CIF player. Chris was a sophomore on that team, and he went into that game on the mound 14-0 as a sophomore.
Wow.
Chris Johnson. And that game was in front of probably 10,000 people up there. You couldn't see the end of the people standing in the outfield.
Whole town was
Yeah,
there.
we got beat 3-2, and the town was shut down. We came in on the bus. There's nobody around. Nobody was in town.
They were all-
It was 1908. That was 79. So, you know, Scotty, of course, and I could go on and on and on. I hate to just like single out a couple of three here, but Steve Swain, he was a first-round All-CIF guy, an All-American, and played in the Philly organization for a year. Left-hand hitter who consistently hit balls across the street up here. In fact, I had to lead him off because they wouldn't pitch to him. So I knew he'd get an at-bat to start a game off. So I flipped him and put him in the one hole, get him another at-bat, and he was getting walked intentionally, you know, 2 and 3 times a game. We did that about mid-season.
And that worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Get them on.
Yeah. You're gonna walk him to lead a game off. So we had
Yeah.
some guys behind him, and he could run.
Yeah. Manufacture something from
He
there.
was a 10th round draft pick. Robin
Wow.
Dreisler, who was just put in our Hall of Fame up here, was a catcher, first team All-CIFer. And he signed with the Orioles out of high school. And that's about all that comes to my head right now.
What are some of your favorite memories coaching the Seahawks?
You know, there were so many individual ones. You know, there's some league championships here and there that we won, and some great teams. I think the neatest thing about coaching the Seahawks for me was having this field here that I played on as a kid, and it was up in our own little corner. We were by ourselves up here, doing our thing in baseball, and just loving the practices and being around the players. Probably was, you know, I can. There's hundreds of moments where it was just, you know, fantastic. But I just think in general, coaching the kids and having this ballpark and the field was, couldn't wait to get up here for all those years.
When I had interviewed Scott Davison before the Hall of Fame, and I asked him the same question,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about a game, I think it was against Cerritos, where he threw a one-hitter, hit a home run to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, the other one that I remember was, we were playing a game at Redondo, and I think it was a Friday, and all of a sudden this black ash starts falling out of the sky. It was getting all over. We found out later the Redondo Pier was burning down.
They almost called the game off.
And that was one that stuck out in his career, yeah.
We had one other for you know, Scotty had a lot of big moments, of course, but I had a little kid named, gosh, I can't remember the year. I think it was around 77, 78. When Swain was playing, the smallest kid on the team. We're at Lusinger, the last game of the season, and this kid's batting ninth. Swain's batting first, so we're having a discussion about him getting. I said, he's a little guy, little tiny guy, Eddie Cervantes, and I said, you have to get on and give Steve a chance here to get up, and gets a couple of balls on him, got the take on, strike one, strike two, got 2 and 2 on him. There's 2 guys on, and he hits a home run over the left fielder's head to win the championship. He's 5'5" or 6", becomes a pro. We win the championship, and me and his dad were talking a couple of nights later. I was over at their house. I was pretty close with his dad, and a friend of mine we'd been discussing. Eddie was a wrestling champion too, And so I tell this guy, I said, you know what he ought to be? So he can't, he's not going to play baseball because he's 5'4" or whatever he is. Never hit a home run in his life, Little League anything. And I said, he should be a jockey. You have to be a great athlete. Long story short, he became an accomplished jockey. Rode at Hollywood Park, rode in the Midwest, rode in the East. Strong, you know, small. But that really stands out because the most surprising thing you'd ever, you know, it's going to come up in a long career.
What a great idea.
But it's amazing I'm mentioning that because it just came out of, talk about left field.
You put the pressure on him and he delivered. You know, I need it, and boom.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wow.
Good for him.
Fantastic. After winning 10 league titles in 19 seasons at Redondo, you resigned after this 88 season. Did you continue to teach at Redondo during that time, and did you pursue other interests during that little hiatus?
I had leaves of absence then from Redondo, and I was in the building business and development. I built a lot of homes in South Redondo in those years, and then I was off 1 or 2 years, and then when Dave Marsden called me from West to go, you know, to go over there.
When you went back to West, was West and Redondo in the same league at that time?
No.
One in the Bay and one in Pioneer?
Yeah, one in the Bay and one in the Sky, Pioneer, I think. Something like Sky League, something like that.
Okay.
Then we hooked up later on. Yeah. Same league.
What type of emotions did you feel when West would play Redondo?
Very strange. The first time we played Redondo, it was here. And so Redondo was on that side. And I was so used to walking to the ballpark. When I came to the ballpark, I went just down there. I said, oh, geez, this is...
Yeah, because I used to be the home side.
Yeah, that was the home side. So I'm on my way down there. I got here real early. And I went, oh, I'm not here tonight. So that was really weird, standing on this side. And very, you know, and then I was back to teaching. So I'm teaching here. I love Redondo, and we're playing them. So it was pretty difficult, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to win. My guys wanted to win, but
seeing your students in the stands.
Yeah. They go, what are you doing?
Traitor.
Yeah. It was not easy.
As a highly successful coach, you must have had opportunities to coach college baseball. What made you remain at the high school?
You know, I had a couple of opportunities. I could have been Loyola Marymount's coach in the, I think, mid to late 70s. And I was comparing, you know, I was married then, had some kids, wasn't in the real estate business yet. And the money wasn't as good. There's no guaranteed job. It just wasn't that. I got offered the job. And I remember Bishop Montgomery was one of their coaches. I forgot his name. He took the job, and I think I could have gone to Pepperdine a couple of times in those years, but it was still the same. Not the situation it was today.
Sure.
Pay wasn't good. No real security.
If you didn't do good.
Yeah, you didn't do a good. You're out.